And yeah, apologies for that. Actually, we'll not even do. We'll just jump right in because I've got way too much background music recording. All right. So at this point, everybody should see you. They should hear me. They should see it all.
Let me see if Sean can hear us. He can. I think we're good.
Yeah, wild. Yeah, so I appreciate everybody sitting around, Sean and the Restream bot, sitting around waiting for this to actually work. This is my second time actually doing audio and capturing Zoom at the same time. And it tells. It shows, basically, if that was not apparent for you, Daniel. But
yeah,
we
got it working.
I am so happy that this is working. I just hit record on Zencastr too, as well as our other backup audio choice. And then I am now adjusting Windows because I'm going to share my screen eventually. Yeah, so the way this is going to work is... Actually, why don't we just go to introduce each other? Everybody knows who I am. I'm Brian, and I've been doing mutual fund streaming. Mutual Fund Live is my name now. That's what I'm going for. We'll see if that sticks. I've gone through a couple different names for this. And I now have Daniel, who's from OneGraph. I've been using OneGraph for a good part of a year now. Off and on, but really consistently since the summer on a project I've been working on. But Daniel, you want to explain OneGraph, what you do, and how you got here?
Yeah, sure. So OneGraph is a single GraphQL API for all your favorite SaaS APIs. So we make one nice, consistent interface for all of those APIs and draw connections in between them. And then we also we have authentication so that you have consistent authentication between all of the different services.
Sweet. And this is like a startup? Like,
would you continue so we were in YC. I always forget the year and the season, but it's a year or two ago. And so we're just trucking along.
Okay. So YC, you go through YC and you get like a seed round once you've completed it? Is that how that works? Or it's not guaranteed?
So YC themselves, they put in a little bit of money. And the main program is like 3 months, and then you present at demo day, and then hopefully you get some investment. Some startups do, some startups don't. Most do, I think, at this point. But so we raised a little bit of money, and we're
excellent.
Now we're just working on getting users and building something people want.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I want OneGraph. I've been using it, so. I'm going to switch over to sharing screen too as well. And this is also going to be a trip, but I think it's going to be not as hard as audio. I don't see a screen share. Oh, here we go.
Oh, okay. So I don't see a way to assign myself, which is I think good for my use case.
Yeah, so I guess that is I don't want to. Yeah, so I guess... Sorry, I'm going to kill the screen share and then walk back here. I guess that we killed that or something, because it used to work. If you just wrote a comment, it gave you rights to assign yourself to an issue and add labels. But I think maybe I talked about it too much and we killed it. But regardless...
we use the assignee as the author of the post, so... that I would have to rethink some things if.
So I guess
you do that.
No need to rethink because it seems like I'm over talking and oversharing because that no longer is a thing. So the way I've been doing it is, and we'll go off on a little bit of a tangent. So I have this other project, open sourced, and if you go into, go into a random issue, 473. And type in the word .take. So just I have a GitHub action that actually assigns someone through it as for an issue. And I have it basically like the limitation is someone comes through and they say, "Hey, this is like super trivial. I can work on this," and I'm like, "Okay, sure." If you read the contributing MD, you should be able to say dot take. You're assigned. Proceed with working on it. I won't be able to like respond. Perhaps like a Sunday or a Saturday, I'm out with the kids all day and I can't respond really quickly. Like assign yourself, work on it, PR. Like that should be the path without me approving thumbs up or anything like that. Let me know when you're able to find the issue.
473.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I comment dot take, it'll
Yeah. So yeah, dot take. And it
you
should
should
trigger
see.
a GitHub action here.
Okay.
Oh, yep, my assign GitHub action. And it's just a bit of bash code that basically just use the GitHub API to assign you to the issue. So yeah, that's in my because commenting telling people to comment on an issue and then have them assign it was not a good it's not a good like onboarding experience for anybody.
Yeah.
This is like this was my resolution for it that I've been using for this project, and so that way if anybody wants to make themselves an author of the post, like they can just assign themselves to like a GitHub action.
Oh, that's cool.
And it looks like it just finished too as well. So I think if I go back to the issue, I should see you assigned to it. Yep.
And you put in your own GitHub token to set that up initially?
Yeah. So I did not. I think the GitHub token is the one used by default, but I have to check
Oh, okay.
to. Yeah. So the GitHub token that's been given to you default by GitHub Actions, it gives you access rights to do things, low level things, so read only things, and some destructive things like assigning issues. Like that's okay. I think if you wanted to delete comments, you'd have to provide your own token. So like anything that's super destructive, you have to provide your own token for, or another token with more rights.
Oh, that's really cool.
But yeah, so yeah, full disclosure, and I mentioned this a couple times on the stream, on one of my solo coding streams, is that this idea is something I talked with the Panis team about, machine learning project, and they went ahead and built it, and I just took their code to do it. But there's also existing GitHub Actions that you could also use that do very similar. You'd have to do some Google foo. Excellent. So I think we sort of like talked through a bit of one graph, OneBlog, and sort of how it works. We got the whole idea of your GitHub issues are your blog post. And let me switch back to do it off screen.
Oh, okay.
But so I'm curious. I guess I can just go in the Netlify too as well. I'm going to do that now and see if you know what you're talking about. No, I'm going to go ahead and check that out, because actually I did not look at the project of the OneGraph project that was produced on my behalf. So let me just check that real quick. I don't remember. Oh, Adoring Bassi? Yeah, that's what it is.
Oh, yeah. It should say on. Let's see.
Build and deploy environment variables. Yep, here we are. All right, yeah. So yeah, I'm looking at a bunch of. Okay, so it's built on Razzle. Is that correct? Which is like
Yeah, it's built on Razzle. So the reason we did that is because we wanted two things. We wanted a static site, but we also didn't want a build step when you added a new issue.
Okay.
So it kind of gives you both. I don't know if it's the right trade-off.
Yeah. Are you able to explain Razzle too as well? Because I've only heard of it
sure.
from people using it. I don't really understand, or I'm not aware of like the background other than I think Jared Palmer is the creator. I saw it was under his domain or his GitHub. But
yeah, it's basically just create React app with server-side rendering
out of the box.
Yeah, so it's got a server-side component, and on Netlify that runs inside of their I forget what they call them, but they're Lambda functions.
Yeah, Netlify functions is
Netlify functions. Yeah, so it just runs in a Netlify function. It's a Node app,
Okay.
like an Express app.
Excellent. Okay,
And so that renders the HTML, and that way Google can see it, and it also allows us to build a nice feed for RSS readers.
So I'm okay. Interesting. So That's good to know. And it sounds like there's just a lot of, is Razzle really built for like people in the sense that they're probably going to use Netlify? Is that the intention, or can you use Razzle on something else like Now or Firebase or
Oh
whatever?
yeah, it works with anything that has cloud functions.
Okay.
So uh,
Oh yeah. So
we have
Now and
in
Firebase
the
would work.
blog in the README, it's got instructions for setting it up with Firebase, which is what we use for our changelog. And then it also has instructions for Now, Netlify. Netlify is the default because we had the easiest time using their API.
Yeah,
And then
that's good to hear.
the the fly.io guys were nice enough to set up a fly config for us, so that's also in there.
So I'm looking at these the domain, sorry, the environment variables, and it's pointing right now to Bduggy and OneBlog. So
Right.
it's looking at itself essentially. I'm curious, how would I go about changing that? Because right now it's on the mutual fund namespace, the org. Would I have to create a whole nother token and replace that as well?
It depends if you have access to it, it will probably work. So if you just change those environment variables, so there's two environment variables that you would change is
Yep.
the like Razzle repository owner and Razzle repository name.
Yeah.
And then if you change those two and trigger a build, um, if it doesn't work, it should fail the build, I would imagine.
Okay. So that's exactly what I'm doing right
It doesn't include the auth in this one because we don't want people, running adding comments as you.
now.
So
Yeah.
if you want to use this, you actually have to be logged in with your own auth. And if you tried to run it without being logged in, you would just get a normal 401 error.
Okay. Cool. So moving on to as well, because we could probably wrap this up in the next like 10, 15 minutes. Um, while we all talk about this, I pointed it to a whole new repo. Um, so hence why there's no information here. Um, so the way you explained it is that, and apologies, my sounds like my son is fighting with my daughter. It seems to have calmed down a bit. If I add the word publish, is it published? Is that what it's looking for?
Uh, Publish, no ed.
Oh, publish. And it looks like I have to create that as well. Let's see. Why am I? Oh, here it is. Sorry, I'm like zoomed in like crazy. New label, publish. It should have asked me to create a label on the issue, but because I'm so zoomed in, I'm missing a ton of context. Let's see. This one, publish. There we go. And then how often is it pinging the
So it will send a request as soon as it sends it directly to OneGraph.
okay.
It might be interesting to look at the network tag tab to see what's sent. Um, but it does have a 5-minute cache unless you're logged in.
Oh. Um Sorry, network cache. Let me go back to here. You're saying here, check here?
Yeah, it might work the first time.
Yeah, looks like it
Yeah,
did.
there it is. Nice.
All right. So that's pretty much it. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I have so many questions about how this works, but it seems like explain to me how the polling works. Is this it hits OneGraph server and
Right.
then it tells Netlify to update through a Netlify function?
Oh no, so the netlify function is just to render static HTML. So the netlify function is running like a server-side rendered React,
Yeah.
and that way Google can find your blog. and then once it hits, so then you've got the statically rendered HTML, and then your browser will make a request to OneGraph. It will grab the latest issues from whatever repo it's configured to grab them from, and then display them here. So I
Nice.
guess the netlify function also sends a request to OneGraph, so we get like a little bit of a double hit. But that way, you get like the freshest content when you load the page. And netlify also, it's set up to cache this page, so it's got like cache headers to cache it for 5 minutes or whatever.
Yeah,
And that way it doesn't have to hit that function every time.
okay, yeah, and I noticed that too as well when I pointed it to the other project. Um, I had to refresh a couple times just to get the new. I guess I don't know. Not sure how the cache invalidation happens on Netlify. I probably could have talked about it 3 years ago when I worked there, but I don't remember that. Pretty cool too. So I actually just opened up another window where I'm logged into another GitHub account just to see what the experience is, and then I wanted to see as far as like authing in. Oh, it looks like I got an error on adding a reaction. I wonder. Oh, did I log in?
Did it show up on the blog itself? I mean, on the repo itself?
Let's see. Oop, I'm getting weird cachings. Oh, you know what? It looks like it's showing the old blog. It's pointing to the old blog now. But let me look at the issue as well. First issue. I think I actually added this reaction myself. So let's give it another hard refresh. Yeah, it looks like perhaps I hit an edge case. It's got.
So it's showing you.
It's showing me the old version of the blog that was pointing to bdougie/mutual fund, or sorry, bdougie/ OneBlog.
Well, that might explain why it.
Yeah, so
I don't know.
I imagine it forgot where the repo is. I'm also gonna let me go back to our. Actually, I think I lost our heads. Let me stop that real quick because I'm gonna go to my keys and I don't want to share that. Just see if the keys got updated. Are the keys stored on OneBlog side?
Which keys?
The keys for my repo and my name, or my org name.
So all of those are just environment variables.
Yeah. So those haven't changed. They look exactly the same.
Oh, okay. I see the error. So for setting a well, I don't actually know why it gives you the old version of the blog.
Yeah.
But for creating a reaction, I tried one just now, and the error I get is that the repo has the correct authorization credentials, but the mutual fund organization has enabled OAuth app access restrictions.
Oh, yeah, that's default. Yeah.
So one thing we could try, so the default OAuth app that OneGraph uses,
Yeah.
it's going to ask for like lots of things because we want to give people who are playing around in the Explorer a decent experience so that they can see all of the things.
Yeah.
So we also have support for creating your own OAuth app or OAuth credentials that you would store. So for the blog, you could create for your mutual fund blog, you could create a GitHub app just for that. Give it access to just that one repo, and just add support for adding issues or modifying issues.
Yeah.
And then when I log in, I don't see this like scary list of all of these permissions.
Yeah.
All I see is like it's a bit confusing because it's like the screen says you can see the permission it wants is to see what resources you have access to. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I actually have it open. I think that's right here. Is this the screen I'm looking at? Let me share this again to you. Is it? No, that's not it. Let me share my whole screen to you. So I got this. I just opened it up in a private browser just to see a different experience. Authorizing here. Oop, that shouldn't have worked. That's not a private browser. All right, open it up again in a private browser, log in with GitHub, and then because it's OAuth, it's gonna ask me for my password. It's also gonna ask me for a code. All right, which I don't have near me. All right, do I have near me? Let's see here. Oh. Currently working with 2 phones at the moment. It's quite the challenge. My my old phone broke, but still has all my tokens on it, and I just don't want to go through that part of life where I have to switch everything over.
I hope you have the backup codes.
Yeah, and perhaps. Oh, I'm not even sharing. I'm sharing you my screen, but I'm not sharing everybody else my screen, so which is fine. If anybody wants to try to log in 30 seconds with my password. So this is the.
Yeah, I think you've probably already been through the OAuth flow.
Yeah, probably.
And gave it the permissions.
Maybe it's
so
cache.
then you see.
Yeah.
And if you use your own, so I guess for people who are watching on the stream, there is don't. If you log into a different app, you don't automatically grant access to your GitHub. So we add another confirmation screen, but you can get rid of that if you set a custom client ID and secret in the OAuth settings. So you can set your own OAuth app that OneGraph will use for you.
Cool.
Do you want to set that up now? Because it might take a few minutes. So we can.
Yeah, if you want to walk me through that, because I'm sure I'll forget and then probably start doing lots of Googling. So first step is you said mutual fund.
Yeah, if you just create a new OAuth app, and is this shared to the Twitch stream too?
No. Right now they're just looking at our heads.
Oh, okay.
So I can't remember in the OAuth app section. Sorry. Do you want to? Were you asking because you want to see my screen as well?
I can see your screen, but I don't know if
no one else can see my screen. They can just see stills of our faces at the moment, which probably is not the best video. But let's do this. I'm pretty sure all sensitive information actually gets obfuscated. So I'm going to switch back to what I'm looking at, and then so everybody's on the same page.
Yeah, so we're just creating a new OAuth app. Is this OAuth app or?
This is OAuth. Did you need a GitHub
it's
app?
Probably better to do a GitHub app. Yeah.
Okay.
Because that gives you only access to the one repo that we care about.
Yep. See here. Fun. OneBlog. Okay. This is for. Because I'll probably need more than that. All right. Don't really need a URL.
So for the callback URL, I don't think you'll need it. But if you go, on the left-hand side in the settings and under auth services, there's a custom OAuth. And we want to do a new GitHub one.
This needs to...
So first we have to create the client on the GitHub side.
Gotcha. So
I don't think you need a
might create.
authorization, but you if it's best to do serve.onegraph.com HTTPS. Slash OAuth slash GitHub slash receive. And you don't need user authorization. I
Okay.
don't think. Yeah, that's just during the installation. We don't have to do that.
Okay. And then
We won't need to use webhooks at this point, and we just need to do for issues,
read and write for
read and write,
reactions.
because you're going to have to,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's the only permission.
And then because this is BDougie and I want this on my org, am I going to need org access to as well?
I don't think so. I think because you install it on an individual repo, so it should be okay.
Yeah. But I guess it should be any account then because I need
Yeah,
to,
probably.
yeah, create this on the org level.
Because yeah, we'll have to install it on that mutual fund app. Oh, oh wait, one sec. If you do serve.onegraph.com slash webhook slash GitHub, but I think it's missing an E.
Yep. Slash GitHub.
Yeah, it's active. And then we don't need it.
Oh. There we go.
I hope.
Yeah, this menu has actually changed since the last time I built the GitHub app.
Uh-oh, you put your secret in the thing.
Did it? I'll have to regenerate that off screen. All right, just clicking the reset button real quick, and then I think since what did I call this? OneBlog. All right, here we go. All right, I'll take off this one too as well.
I think that we will hide the secret, but
Yeah.
better to do it off screen.
Where am I? Okay, here we go. Oop. Let's see here. Yeah, client ID, reveal. All right.
Hey, okay.
Got that working.
So now we just have to install it on the repo.
And when you say install it on the repo,
So that's like a GitHub
oh,
app
gotcha.
thing.
It's a GitHub app. Yeah. So
Typically, it'll take you through that flow on its own. But if you find
the public listing page. Oh, install app. There we go.
yeah, there we go. It's in the settings.
Install on mutual fund.
Yeah, and it should only get access to issues.
Yep.
And so now if I log in, like, and test it, well, yeah, you could test it too. If you go to the OneBlog site and refresh, then when you log in, it should go through. Yeah.
Only wants access to.
So it has that weird resources permission, which I don't quite understand. But it only gets access to issues on this one account. I mean, on this one repo. So people hopefully won't be too worried about it. And then you don't have to go through that secondary step because it's a no-auth app that's only for this one app.
Okay.
Hey, it works.
And it works. All right, excellent. Yeah, so I guess to summarize, we because I did something different where I already had existing one blog, because I went through the creating the generic one and pointing it directly pointing it to a repo that wasn't the same repo as the one it was in. Had to do a couple other steps, as well as create a whole nother GitHub app to circumvent the adding for all permissions, but also giving access to issues it's installed on. So there's a couple hoops that I jumped through because I just have a very unique situation where I have an organization where I'm trying to use this in. But I guess, did I summarize that correctly?
Yeah, I think anyone who's using it at some point will probably want to create their own GitHub app,
Yeah.
because then it doesn't ask for so many permissions just to comment on your blog.
Yeah. And the other thing,
but to get started,
yeah.
you can just use the default one that we have.
Yeah, and like I also wasn't even aware of. Maybe I actually need to take another tour through OneGraph, because I've been using it, but I haven't really checked out the dashboard and the menu, as haven't really kept up to date, because I did not know you could actually prop in your own auth tokens in GitHub apps too as well, because I'm using the generic one for one open source as well. So something
we should probably make that more obvious for people.
Yeah, so I'm definitely going to be doing that this actually tonight, probably switch that over to, because I do have a open source GitHub app as well that I was planning on using for other reasons. But yeah, I appreciate you taking me through this whole tour of OneBlog, getting it installed for my project. Also appreciate you sitting through all the audio issues, as well as everybody else who's sort of drove by on the stream and said, "Hey, you're echoey." I know, but I don't know how to not be. And rather than stop the recording, and because I do have a good recording on my end, so I can actually overdub the video with good audio, which I probably do late tonight. We hit it like up to 8, I think, who were here at least one time on various places. Also, I don't know if I explained that to you. I'm streaming on YouTube mainly because it saves a YouTube video without me needing to upload the second thing. Also to Twitch because the community's there, and then Periscope because of awareness. Because if you see a Periscope video in Twitter, it's almost people automatically just click it. Yeah, they'll click it for you, and because it's just me and the president and COVID-19 press releases, I'm showing up a lot in some people's streams because not a lot of people use Periscope. So that is my sort of like awareness campaign that I've been doing so far. And let's see here. Let me stop share and go back to OBS. Cool. Oops. Here we go. All right. So yeah, that was quite the ride. But I hopefully I'll make it up to you. I know this was challenging. But I want to hopefully use OneBlog pretty heavily for this project, which is Mutual Fund. And I'll probably maybe I'll run it by you and Sean. Probably do like some legit like edited video of me walking through setting up a project, so that way it just exists and I can look back at it, because all this was super useful information for myself to get started, to hopefully it'll be useful for other people as well.
Yeah, let us know as you're using it, like what kind of problems and stuff you encounter, and we can hopefully fix those all.
Yeah, well, I have a realistic project I'm going to be using on it pretty heavily moving forward, which is everything I do so far, which is Mutual Fund Live. I'm creating an issue for the show notes, so that way it just keeps me on track of what to say and when to do it, especially when I'm by myself. But also, if anybody wants to comment or add feedback, it's all out in the open. So everything I'm doing for the stream is in the open, other than the secret OBS stuff I'm doing.
Nice.
Awesome. All right. Well, again, thanks for coming on. I did have like a closing remark that I wanted to make, which is this has been Mutual Fun.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. So I'm going to try to incorporate that better. But yeah, with that being said.
Oh, this was great. Thanks for having me.